Morning, everybody. Okay, this is the Jesus, spiders webs everywhere. Bike is dusty. No problem. Bought this tank bag. It's a big one. Double, way too big for my bike, but I'm going to use it. It's full of camera stuff. I've got my drift set up here, which I'm going to put the drift on because the drift really, without the remote's dead. After a year, remote died, but it's great for that time lapse or the sequence where tagging, they call it, kind of not the tagging that most people are used to, but hit it backs up 10, 20 or 10, 30 seconds, a minute and a half, whatever you want. So that'll be good through there. I've already checked it with the clean windshield. That way, if we get a moose or an accident or something in front, I can just hit the continuum button there and it'll back up in time. Going to try that because the handlebar mount out here gets a little bit of a view on there, and it's a bit of vibration, and on here is really not that good. That's just spare tape for anything goes wrong. Inside of here we have just a myriad of cables. Think about how they used to do it 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, it's amazing we have some of the footage we have. We have so much at our discretion these days, and honestly, when I was in the hospital for 5 weeks, when I got home actually, it's been 3 years. I'm still recovering from that staph infection. I know a lot of people with, who doesn't? Cancer. The cancer is just so prevalent. My sister-in-law lost, some very precious body parts to cancer. That's just such a sin. Anyways, it's a bad thing. Now, I had a staph infection which nearly killed me, and I've met very few people that have had a staph infection that serious. So it's an unusual thing to have a staph infection, but hey, if you're going to get some kind of a serious illness or malady from an accident or cancer or a bacterial infection or whatever, knock wood, you get better, and look after yourself. Moderate, consistent exercise, watch what you put in your mouth, and be happy. You got to be happy, and that can be hard when you're recovering. You're going to go through some depression and things. A lot of people do. I know I did, but I'm too much of a coward. I couldn't put a bullet in the old brain, and thank God to my wife who kept making me promise I would hang around. And it's been 3 years, and I'm glad to be here, compromised or not, and I am compromised. I look at my friends and relatives who've dealt with cancer and other things, and they're an inspiration for me. They just keep on trucking. Oh yes, the goodie bag. We have the old Averio. And it's old. Actually, I got to get a new one because it overheats. It's going to burn up the lenses for my wife gave me her Nikon. She threw her Nikon away to me, or the J1, because she's got this big, beautiful 5300 Nikon. This is my AC/DC toque I wore in the hospital every day. Once I realized after the first 10 days when I was kind of like in La La Land, had lunch with God actually. It was pretty cool. Realized I was alive but didn't know what was going on. That toque, it stays with me. Hopefully they'll bury me in it. This is off my other camera bag, and this is full of goodies. I got suction cups and things in here, spare batteries, just a myriad of things, cables and cords and chargers, because I can charge up here somewhere. Again, I'm having trouble with the V-Strom here with room. I'm filling up with stuff, but this will be a good bag. More cables and books and warranty things to read. I've got my hat cam here, and what I do on the hat cam is I just pull the bottom off of here and put it on the hat right there. I did when I came home from the hospital. I spent a lot of time watching animal shows. I often call myself a lion expert because I just love those animal shows. Andy Del Grande and some of the other NG photographers. I love what those people do. And they're always innovating. I've got a mount here on the back of my wife's bike. I've got a mount right there. I used to have a mount on here, but it's only good for rear shots, and I'm going to put one on here. I use a suction cup on here to get the view from the back. Excuse me. These are my water jugs. I put 1.5 liters Dasani on each side. Dasani makes a really tough water bottle. Extremely durable. A lot of water bottles are made really thin. They're trying to save the environment. If you're going to recycle something, you may as well recycle something sturdy. I used 1.5 liters Dasani on each side. That gives us 3 liters of water, which I refill at all the hotels. We'll take all the camping gear, but I camp very little because of my heart condition. I have chronic fatigue. So I get tired. And I sleep in the ditches. Anybody's watched any of my videos from the last couple trips, I'll sleep in your front yard if you'll let me. So we're basically ready to go in a week to Whitehorse. It's going to be more of a cash trip, and my wife's first long trip. She did a 4-day trip to Euclid there. But we've got all the camera gear on here. She's going to have very little on there as far as making her pack anything. She's all set up with all the goodies. That's a great little bike. Now, I don't think we've got under 62 miles to the gallon yet, and it'll do 100 miles an hour in a blink. Amazing machines, the DL650s. Not so good on the potholes, but fire roads, gravel, you know, a little bit of caution, it'll go almost anywhere. Aha! An ant! I've got a war going on with the ants right now. Go on, live, little buddy, live. Till later. Whereas this thing gets around, I'll probably get around 50 miles to the gallon on the highway, but with 100 ponies and 1,000 cc's, that's very hard to complain about. So we're all set up. All the camera gear comes with me everywhere I go. Take it off. Got the bag set up. I'll put the camping gear across here. Bikes are all tuned, ready to go. Third year running this V-Strom, and I'm finally getting to, we're finally getting along. Knock plastic. And before we leave, it I'm going to do all the time now is I'm going to give thanks. You have to have an attitude of gratitude, and I do. Doesn't mean you can't acquire more or decide to do other things, but in this case it's oil. Thanks to oil in the tank, oil in the everything I do on this trip, and my wife does on the trip, is because of oil. Isn't that something? I'd like to get an electric motorcycle, but they're so expensive and they don't go more than 400 kilometers. Once they start doing 500 kilometers between charges, seriously, we're going to think about electric motorcycles, and because we don't go much more than 500 kilometers a day. You know, maybe electric will be, that'd be so cool to never have to pull into a gas station. That would be cool. Yeah, so thanks to oil. This, if it wasn't for oil, I'd have to be in suspended animation. You know, I know it's a controversial subject, oil. But it's true. You know, we're running out of it slowly but surely. I'll be long dead before that happens, so that can be my issue, I guess. But I just, you know, I like to remind people, it's oil, baby. That's why we're here, and everything happens. Everything happens. If it wasn't for oil, I guess we would be taking a horse and buggy to Whitehorse, and would probably take us about 2 months. Would be kind of cool, actually, but harsh. Anyways. So this is the camera bag. That's what I wanted to go over, and of course I spewed on to other things. We're set to go. We got 10 days. I'm going to start my moto vlogging here in the next couple days. Oh, the old V is getting a little tired. What a grand bike it is. I like the new Vs. Okay, it's Wobbles Garage signing over and out. Just remember, look after yourself, look after your health, moderate, consistent exercise. Watch what you eat. Doesn't mean you can't have some ice cream, but it's good to have vegetables. Really keep your vegetable intake up big. Steaks are okay. That's you know, I'm a meat eater, but it's small amounts. Vegetables, I found that since the last year I've really upped my vegetable intake, and it's made a big difference in my recovery. Long live the mighty farmer, man. Rock on. Okay, Wobbles Garage over and out for the middle of June, middle of July. I don't even know what month it is. I have brain issues from the strokes. Apparently I'm retarded, but my wife says I was retarded before. Okay, over and out. You guys have a great day.